Hey guys, Matt here. This is your Inner Circle weekly presentation for November 1st, 2015. You'll notice that I've shifted the phrase digest to presentation because I've decided to kind of take these digests that are typically just summaries and divert them a little bit more in the direction of a little educational experience. Another great example is from Lisa Ellis. She says, I'm hoping you can help. Now that we've got our new website, we're looking into SEO and how to improve rankings. However, I found most of the world of SEO is more scary than a visit to the dentist. She says, I'm not scared of spending money. What I am scared of is wasting money. The one company that was offering their services is £600 per month, which sounds very high. And I guess my question is, do you think we should value, this is a good value for the money? Will I see a return? Great question, something that a lot of newcomers to the vacation rental space are asking after they get that first website. It's an overwhelming topic, SEO, and the responses, again, were, I think, something that could save Lisa a ton of time and ideally a £600 payment up front, and that is as follows. Dawn is a new member to the Inner Circle. Her name is Dawn Shears. She's got a web programming firm, and she's been doing an amazing job of just giving away lots of her great time-tested advice. But what she says is basically this. I've been an SEO expert since 1998. I'm happy to answer your questions. First and foremost, here's an article breaking down the importance of key elements of SEO. Second, $600 sounds like a lot. I don't see a link to your content, so I can't evaluate the technology you're using, but I'm happy to answer any questions. First and foremost, amazing. That kind of little consult typically costs a bunch of money in its own. Lisa responds. David Angotti then jumps in. Hi guys, I'm happy you posted here. You're going to get a couple different answers. Dawn's response seems like a good start. My background is in SEO. As a former VP of marketing, over 1,000 e-commerce stores. I was also an SEO consultant that worked with brands ranging from Fortune 500 to medium-sized businesses. In addition, I was a staff author at the Search Engine Journal, which is one of the top 10 marketing blogs in the world. In other words, I know my stuff. And I met David this weekend. It's very clear that he does know all his stuff. His advice was, again, I think something that can only come from someone who's been there before and someone at the same time who's willing to share their advice. Not everyone falls into those categories. First and foremost, David says, like Dawn, educate yourself. You at least need to know the basics of how SEO works in order to not get had. Think of it like going to a mechanic. If you have zero idea how your car works, you're kind of exposing yourself to getting ripped off. Where you know the basics. Most people know the basics. Not magic pills. You can't do them overnight. And Dawn has chimed in on exactly that same concept. There are some things that you can begin implementing. For instance, being mobile friendly. That's a huge one. If you're not mobile friendly for your website, chances are you have zero future SEO prowess. That's a technical one. That's a hardware piece of advice. But then again, when it comes to actually creating this content and integrating SEO in a long-term philosophy, it's really a much bigger decision than just, I know I should do it, what do I do now? So I'm thinking that by reading this advice, Lisa, first and foremost, has great foundation to stand on. She's more equipped to make the next decisions than she was in the first place. But if you are at that stage, if you have graduated to the point that you want to be investing in SEO, you've educated yourself on the basics of it, utilize this advice from two high-powered SEO consultants, basically free of charge. Subject of vacation rental websites. This was something that I took away from this week on the Inner Circle, and that is that Wix was rumored. Wix is a free website building platform, or not free, small, low-cost website building platform that is designed to help people launch a website basically in a couple hours. It's cookie cutter in the sense that it's not designed primarily often. On the subject of vacation rental websites, this was something that I took away from this week on the Inner Circle, and that is that Wix was rumored. Wix is a free website building platform, or not free, small, low-cost website building platform that is designed to help people launch a website basically in a couple hours. It's cookie cutter in the sense that it's not designed primarily for vacation rentals, but it does allow you to get your own little piece of online real estate pretty much overnight. Now, the rumor has it, and I think this is kind of still up in the air, that Google was going to be de-indexing all Wix sites. They're all hosted basically on the same piece of online real estate, and there was some glitch somewhere in there that Google was going to be de-indexing them. In other words, not going to be showing their results in any of the organic search rankings. That's a massive thing, and it's even more daunting or frustrating if you've been using Wix for, let's say, a year or 2 years, investing all your time in creating wonderful things, and then all of a sudden the rug is pulled out from under you because no one can find your content. And the conversation that follows is actually really interesting, because the question is, like, as a vacation rental owner or manager who wants a website, do I go for Wix or Squarespace or MyVR or Web Chalet, something that is hosted on a larger platform? It's incredibly easy to get started. In the vacation rental options, the last two that I mentioned, you have custom features that are designed for us, by us, but is technically owned by someone else. And I've always been a fan of WordPress, which it has a type of license that means basically it can only be owned by me. My website is hosted on WordPress. However, it's not easy. Like, you can't just launch a WordPress website overnight in a comprehensive way like you can with Wix or Squarespace. Dawn, who's again a web programmer, jumps in and says, like, there's pros and cons about both, right? If you want to get started quickly and you don't want to spend that learning curve of building a WordPress site, go for Wix or go for Squarespace. It's a perfectly acceptable option. However, if you've either graduated up to that next step and you want something that you can control more, or if you're starting from scratch and you know you want this business to go 50 or 100 years that you can pass on to several generations, and you don't want to have to worry about whatever rules or commissions or payment structures or whatever exist about those other platforms, you want to have something that you own, that you control, and WordPress would be that option. But it brought up a very healthy conversation, I think, and that is that there are different ways of doing it. There are pros and cons for each. As you know, independent vacation rental owners, I think our greatest strength is in knowing what are those pros and cons and making the decision that best fits your own vacation rental. And I'm